Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alrighty, so today I'm going to be reviewing the classic, the original Sharpie fine point marker, which honestly I am very excited to give a review to because, well, the Sharpie fine point marker is something I have used a lot. I ain't gonna lie, I've bought a lot of these markers in the past. I've owned so many of them currently, and they really are just good overall markers, but they certainly are not without their problems, and there certainly are better alternatives in my personal opinion at least, but I have not found a lot of good alternatives yet, so that is the reason why I still use the Sharpie fine point marker. That is for sure, and I'm saying insane. But, I do think without further ado, it is now time for me to go ahead and, well, hop into the packaging of the Sharpie fine point marker for this review. Then after that, I'm going to go ahead and get one of the Sharpies out, go ahead and let you guys know all the details on the Sharpie itself, what its weight is like, how it is ergonomically and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing with the original Sharpie fine point marker and go ahead and let you guys know my official opinion on this marker right here. Although I'm sure you guys can already tell, I may or may not be a pretty big fan, but I certainly can't tell you guys that for sure because y'all are going to have to wait until the end to find out, you know what I'm saying? But first off, as said, let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging, which I will admit is a pretty decent look. It's certainly not beautiful by any means, but it's functional packaging that just tries to sell you on the pens and everything like that kind of thing. It doesn't really have too much going on or anything like that kind of thing, but it has enough going on to tell you all of the information that you need to know. It's functional packaging, does an all right job of selling the pens themselves, but it's most certainly not beautiful, that is for sure, you know what I'm saying? Just starting at the top right here, we could just see a little red square on the top of this white background right here, and we could just see in white, and it looks very handwritten, it just says the original, which is trademarked for some reason. The original, they trademarked the original. Come on, seriously, can we not use any phrases these days? That's just lame, I ain't gonna lie. I can't say, yeah, this is the original. Maybe it means specifically the original Sharpie. I really have no clue. It doesn't actually say on the back of the packaging or anything like that kind of thing, but either way, I do really hope that they didn't copyright the original. That would be pretty lame, I ain't gonna lie. It's like trying to react. It's like trying to react. It's like trying to copyright the word react. Like, come on, seriously? There's a bunch of white lines going through that and everything like that kind of thing. And original is indeed underlined, so just make it a little bit more distinct and everything like that kind of thing. That is for sure. But not under, because I was going to go ahead and cover this right here, but then I noticed there's some numbers right here and everything like that. But over from this red square right here, we could just see there's some numbers. It's just 30162. I assume that's like the packaging number or something like that, you know what I'm saying? And under all of this right here, in a nice black font, we can just see the classic Sharpie logo, which of course is indeed copyrighted, you know what I'm saying? It's of course just the normal Sharpie logo. There's not really much going on, no drop shadows. It's just the black Sharpie logo, just the classic Sharpie logo and the very nice cursive and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Very classic look, certainly no complaints from me, that is for sure. Moving on below the classic Sharpie logo, we can see the white border just continues all the way until this red right here, where then the rest of the packaging is just this very nice sort of red with some lighter red going through, you know what I'm saying? I definitely have to say the red is darker at the bottom and it gets lighter towards the top and everything like that. I do like that color change, that is for sure. And we can just see there's a red line just going all the way through and everything like that kind of thing, which looks pretty cool, that is for sure, I will admit. And we can also see there is some text that starts in white on the red and then moves into red on the white and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? It just changes color just like that, you know what I'm saying? Certainly no complaints on my behalf, but I'm just going to go ahead and read that text out to you guys right now. It just says marks on most surfaces. So it does not mark on all surfaces, but on most surfaces it does. And then it just says under that, it just says marque sur la plupart des surfaces, which I assume is French. I really have no clue though, but I assume that just means marks on most surfaces in French. And then under all of that right there, we could just see some text right here. It just says that this is indeed the Sharpie fine point marker, and it just says permanent marker because, of course, this is indeed a permanent marker, you know what I'm saying? And then it just says marqueur permanent, which I assume is French. I hope y'all are enjoying my French accent today and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Under that, though, we could just see there's a little bit of a Sharpie fine point permanent marker tip right there, you know what I'm saying? It's got the normal tip all outlined in this very nice white and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Then on the other side of the packaging, we could just see it just says 2 count right here. It's just white. This, though, one thing I forgot to mention is that it does actually have some like black drop shadow and everything like that kind of thing. This text right here has some black drop shadow, which is a pretty nice touch, but this does not, and this does not, or both of these do not, which I do find to be a little bit interesting. That is for sure. Struggling a little bit with words today. That is for sure, but certainly no complaints on my behalf either way. And honestly, that's pretty much all there is to the front of the packaging. Really not much to speak of. It's certainly not beautiful packaging. I do suppose it's mildly distinct from a distance, mainly just because of the Sharpie logo right there and the iconic look of the actual Sharpie fine point permanent marker pens and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Permanent marker pens. The actual iconic look of the Sharpie permanent markers, because, well, I will admit, they are a very iconic look and a very timeless look, a look that's been around for a long time, I will admit, and a look that hasn't been changed for a long time, which is how you create a timeless look. I will admit, it's pretty much just distinct for that reason, just because of the Sharpie logo and everything like that. The rest of the packaging is not really all distinct at all, and in my personal opinion, it really does look pretty generic, but yeah, I'm not really the biggest fan of this packaging. It's not terrible per se, but it's only really distinct just because of the brand name, in all honesty. Moving on to the back of the packaging, though, we can see it's all in black and white. Gotta have some money savings somewhere, you know what I'm saying? At the top of the packaging right here, we can just see it just says contents 2 black fine point permanent markers, and then it just says under that in French, contenu 2 marqueurs permanents et point fine noir. And then it just says Sharpie right here with copyright, with a copyright symbol, of course. It's just the normal Sharpie logo. On this side, we could just see it's a very, very nice sort of white cardboardy look and everything like that. Sort of, I definitely have to say, almost gray cardboard. And then we could just see on this side, it's all black, and there's just a bunch of details on this side. First off, though, I'm just gonna go ahead and cover this side right here, you know what I'm saying? So, under the Sharpie logo right here, I guess I can't really just, cover one side because there's letters that go over and everything like that kind of thing. But under the Sharpie logo right here, nonetheless, it just says, experience more Sharpie. And then under that, in French, it just says, experimentes plus Sharpie, which is pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? And then it just has a little white arrow that just points down. It's just the fine, ultra fine, deluxe twin dough tips, retractable, and then chisel, and then bizaunte. I don't know how to pronounce that in all honesty. And we can just see all of those are just outlined in a very, very nice whiteboard, you know what I'm saying? Certainly no complaints on my behalf. And then under that, it just says AP, which AP, Art and Creative Materials Institute Certified, ACMIAP. So it's Art and Creative Institute Certified, which they do proudly put on all of their markers. I will admit it says it right there on the marker, but I'll be getting to that in just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And it just also says that this conforms to ASTM D4236, and then under that it just says in French, conforme à la forme ASTM D4236. So it just says what I just read, but in French. On the other side, though, we can just see there's the Sharpie fine point permanent marker right there, and then it just says, with an asterisk right here, it just says, bold fine tip makes impressive marks. La pointe grassa et fine permanente de tracer des marques impressionantes. I don't know. And then it just says, quick drying, séchage rapide. And then it just says, fade and water resistant ink, which is, in my personal opinion at least, total BS. I have wetted paper before that has Sharpie on it, and it does not react very well, sometimes. Sometimes it's okay. Depends on the paper, in all honesty, though. More than it depends on the pen. Encre resista la decoloration. Makes sense, you know what I'm saying? And then all below that and everything like that, we can just see it's just white, and then it just goes to more black text and everything like that kind of thing, and it just says 2150976. Don't know what that means. It just says assemble in the USA. Yes, sir. USA made. And then it just says assembler aux etats unis, and then it just says copyright 2020 Newell Office Brands, product of Newell Office Brands, 6655 Peachtree Dunwoody Road, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia 30328. And then it just has Newell Brands logo right there, and then under that it just says www.sharpie.com. And that's pretty much all there is to the packaging. Overall, I will admit, it's kind of okay from a distance, just simply because of the Sharpie logo, but it's not particularly iconic. It's not a particularly good look in my personal opinion. I don't like this packaging. Not that I really think they could have done any better. The selling point of this marker is not the packaging. They don't really need super great packaging because it's a Sharpie. People are buying this because it's Sharpies. That's how you know what you have a good product. When people are like, oh yeah, I want a permanent marker. What do people call permanent markers these days? Sharpies. Hand me a Kroger brand permanent marker. No. You don't call it. You don't say, hand me the Kroger brand permanent marker. You say, hand me the Sharpie. That's how iconic Sharpie is. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose their trademark because of that. They're probably really trying to stop that, in all honesty, because some it's like Kleenex. Any cleaning wipe is a Kleenex. And Kleenex has come very close to losing their trademark on their name before, just simply because everybody refers to everything as a Kleenex. I'm sure Sharpie is very much that way as well. But people buy these because they're Sharpies, not because of the packaging. So the packaging doesn't really need to be good. It just needs to make it, they just need to make it distinct enough where people are like, oh, okay, Sharpies, cool. Let's not buy the brand stuff that I saw. Let's not buy the store brand stuff that I saw first. Let's buy the Sharpies, even though they're double as much and everything like that kind of thing. And it's just fine. I will admit, these are probably better than store brand ones. But I have used store brand ones before that are better than normal Sharpies. But nonetheless, I am unimpressed by this packaging. It's definitely below average in my personal opinion. The only good thing, the only saving grace of this packaging is that you can actually see the pens through it and that you get the Sharpie logo right here. But without further ado, it is now time for me to go ahead and get this packaging all opened up and go ahead and get one of these pens actually out. This is what I just did. Let's go and just put this in my backpack, just like that. And let's go ahead and just see if I can, there we go. There we go. Okay. Let's see if I can get this. This is, I am struggling a little bit, I ain't gonna lie. Let's see if I can get this all opened up. There we go. So let's just go ahead and get one of these pens out, go ahead and see how the pens look, how they feel, what the quality of them is like, see what the weight of them is like, see what the ergonomics of them like, or basically everything to do with these pens. Let's just see what it's like. You know what I'm saying? First off, let's just go ahead and cover the actual details on the outside of the pen itself. We can just see black tip, of course, because this is indeed a black Sharpie. And then on this side, we could just see it just says Sharpie right there, permanent marker right there. Of course, Sharpie is indeed copyrighted, and then it just says fine point right there. And then it just says AP certified, conforms to ASTM D4686, whatever standards or something like that kind of thing. And that's pretty much what it says. And then you go to the other side and we just see that it just says Sharpie fine point permanent marker right there with no AP or anything like that kind of thing. And that's pretty much all there are to the details on this. The color for this, for the actual barrel area of the pen itself is sort of, I definitely have to say, a very, very light gunmetal gray, which is a very good and very, very, very iconic look, I ain't gonna lie. Sharpies, in my personal opinion at least, really are truly one of the most iconic markers that you can buy today. One of the most iconic stationary products that you can buy today as a whole. I am being completely dead ass. Sharpie, specifically the Sharpie fine point. The ultra fine is pretty iconic too, but specifically the Sharpie fine point, at least in the United States, very much is a super iconic, super popular, and very, very, very common pen that, in my personal opinion at least, is just a super classic, super iconic look. It's certainly not a particularly complex look. It is very simple. It's definitely not minimalist per se, but it is more simple than not, that is for sure. And I definitely have to say it's just a very, very, very iconic look. And it's a look I've grown up with. So I am biased, I will admit. It's a look I've grown up with. But it's a look I like quite a bit. And I think because I've grown up with how this pen looks and how this pen feels and using this pen and everything like that kind of thing, I am decently biased. I really like the look of this pen. It's a classic look in my personal opinion. I am a fan, I ain't gonna lie. But now that I've covered all the details of the pen itself, on the outside of the pen, we can just see, I forgot to mention, there is of course a clip right here, and the clip the clip does indeed work pretty easily and everything like that kind of thing. That is for sure. Just clips in just like that, you know what I'm saying? Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Pretty easy, just plastic clip. You can break it pretty easily, I will admit. I've broken one before, but if you don't try to break it, if you don't do like this, like I'm doing right now kind of thing, you're gonna have no issues. Let's go ahead and get the tip of the actual pen off and everything like that kind of thing. We can just see the actual holding area and everything like that kind of thing is all black, and then the, of course, felt tip is indeed black as well. Oof, that smells good, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, no complaints from me, that is for sure, you know what I'm saying? No complaints from me. Ooh, that's some pretty good stuff, I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? That is some pretty good stuff. I think I'm gonna be pretty I think that just gave me a headache. I'm gonna be pretty energetic for the rest of this video, you know what I'm saying? That was some pretty good stuff, I ain't gonna lie. But are there any other details on this pen that I've missed? But that's pretty much all there is to the actual look of the pen itself and everything like that kind of thing. The overall quality of the pen is fantastic. It's just very nice, thick plastic. Trying to bend it right off the bat, you really cannot bend it very easily. I've seen Sharpies get run over by cars before, and like the outer casing like just cracks and everything like that kind of thing. So you really cannot bend this very well, but it is overall a very, very, very high quality kind of thing. I think I want to say for these two right here, these definitely are not the cheapest things in the world. I will admit Sharpies are definitely not the cheapest things in the world. I want to say it was like $2.99 for both of these, so $1.50 a piece. It had better be somewhat good quality for $1.50 a piece, I will admit, but it's really not bad. It's really not bad kind of thing. It is pretty good quality for $1.50 a piece, I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? It's a pretty good iconic look, and the weight of this pen overall kind of thing, It's pretty light. It does have some weight to it, that is for sure. Definitely a heavy-ish pen just because of all the ink on the inside and everything like that kind of thing, but certainly not the heaviest, that is for sure. Definitely when you're writing it like this and everything like that, the weight is very centralized around where the Sharpie S is right here, around where your knuckle is going to be, or around where like my finger is right here and everything like that. A lot of the weight is centralized around there. It's not back heavy, it's not front heavy or anything like that kind of thing. With the lid on the back, it does get a little bit heavier on the back of the marker, and this is definitely how I prefer using Sharpies, just because there is just a tinge more weight on the back of the marker. It's definitely my personal preference to use Sharpies like this, just simply because I like a pen that is a little bit more weighted towards the back, or a pen that is very heavily weighted at the front. I don't like central weighted pens, not my thing, not a fan, and this is very much central weighted. So as such, I like to put the lid on the back to just weight it a little bit differently and everything like that. And then of course, I also don't have to worry about losing the cap and then not having a cap for my Sharpie, which would definitely suck because this is a permanent marker. I don't want to throw it on the inside of my bag and not have a cap for it, because then it's going to mark all over the inside of my bag. But overall, yeah, pretty decent quality pen for the price, especially kind of thing. It's certainly not bad quality, that is for sure. Decent weight, not the best in the world, that is for sure, but definitely not terrible. Ergonomics wise, how is this pen? Ergonomics wise, I definitely feel like this pen is a lot thicker than a lot of other, let's say, cheap pens. Like the last review I did was of the Bic round stick, and that was super thin, and honestly it was almost a little bit frustratingly thin. It's 20 cents a pen, so I can't really diss it, but it was almost a little bit frustratingly thin because it just didn't really fit in my hand very well. It was very much a pen you don't want to write with for long periods of time. Sharpies, on the other hand, though, are like the perfect thickness for my hand kind of thing. Even though they don't have like a soft grip or anything like that on the inside right here, it is still extremely easy to write with just because of the thickness and everything like that. It's just super easy to balance and everything like that kind of thing. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. And honestly, I really do think if I was gonna create my own Sharpie fine point marker or something like that, one, I would make the insert removable, because you can't do that. If I try to unscrew this, it just doesn't unscrew, it's just glued in there. And two, I would make it metal. And three, I would make it weighted towards the back. And I think right there, that would be my perfect Sharpie fine point marker, in all honesty. Really perfect. That is exactly what I do if I was gonna create my own Sharpie fine point marker, but I'm not probably doing that for a long time, if ever. So I'm gonna be using these, that is for sure. But overall, very, very decent ergonomics. Certainly not the greatest in the world. It doesn't have any sort of grip or anything like that kind of thing. But honestly, these are way better than a lot of roller balls, ballpoint pens, retractable pens. I will admit, these are about the same as most other felt tip pens in my personal opinion. The ergonomics for this, in my personal opinion as well, are slightly better than the Sharpie Ultra Fine Point, just simply because the Ultra Fine Point is a little bit thinner. But I really do like the thickness of it. It really does make it easy. You can hold it from the side, which is really nice. You can hold it right up, straight up, and everything like that. It's super easy to do either way, although I will admit it's most comfortable to hold from the side. And there is a spider on my tripod off of here. Hey, I see you. I see you. Damn spider was on my tripod trying to steal my phone. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. But, I do think without further ado, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. As said, pretty good quality. Got some interesting details. Got a classic look to it in my personal opinion. And it's decent ergonomics-wise. The weight is okay. I do think without further ado, now I've gone ahead and covered all that, it is now time for me to actually go ahead and start drawing with the Sharpie fine point pen, because, well, can't really have a review of a pen without drawing. I've got my very large sketchbook with me today because I forgot my really small one, and this is one I just had in the back of my car. So I'm going to be drawing with this today. I'm just going to flip it to a page. I actually have used all the pages in this notebook, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip. Oh, there we go. I'm going to flip to a page. There we go. Flip to a page that flip to the back of a page that I haven't used, and go ahead and start drawing with my Sharpie fine point marker, and go ahead and let you guys know how it reacts right out of the box. So let's just go ahead and just do some sketches and everything like that kind of thing. Pretty good. Very thick, very bold lines. This is definitely like watercolor type paper, and it is reacting very well to it. Just going line after line after line after line. It is keeping up the pace. It is not... We're not having any issues or anything like that kind of thing. And definitely one of my main issues with Sharpies is the felt tip is very, very, very soft. So as you continue using the pen, you really want to make sure, if you don't want to ruin the actual fine tip of the marker, you really need to make sure you don't press down too hard. Now, my issue is I am a hard writer. I press down really hard on everything I use. Sharpies are not great at dealing with that. They're really not. And we can see this pen, I've already kind of started doing that just a little bit and everything like that. It's definitely not as pointy as it was, just a little bit less pointy. But taking a look at this right here, it's performing fantastically. It is really performing super, super well and everything like that kind of thing. This is where I started to begin with kind of thing. This was the first line and I just went all the way down. We can see no fading or anything like that kind of thing. And then I went ahead, rotated the pen a little bit in my hand and then started again on this side. We can see it started off as thicker because I had kind of worn down. We can see it went from thin to thick as my hand got used to the pen and as I started wearing it down just a little bit and everything like that kind of thing, which really is one of my main issues with Sharpie fine point markers, is that they do wear down very quickly. And also, I know I can't really cover this super well in a first impression review, but another one of my issues with Sharpie fine point markers is that they're really great when they're brand new. They really are. I love using fresh, right out of the box Sharpie fine point markers. After you've used them a decent amount kind of thing, they start fading a lot faster and they definitely do not perform as well. Sharpies are definitely best out of the box, as most pens are, but they do definitely fade a lot more than other pens. I know it's just the fact that it's a felt tip pen kind of thing. Felt tip pens tend to do that. It is annoying nonetheless though, and it is a complaint on my behalf about Sharpies, and it is my current goal to find a better alternative to Sharpies that is still a felt tip, but the felt tip doesn't kind of disintegrate as much, and it doesn't fade as much. And my personal solution to that has been, well, I can't really say it in this video. Well, I should actually say it in this video because otherwise I feel a little bit, I keep complaining about the problems with these, and if I don't say what my personal solution is right now, my personal solution has been the Sakura Pigma opaque pigment marker and the pencil sign pen. Both of those are pretty good alternatives in my personal opinion. The pencil sign pen is a little bit thinner compared to this, but can be as thick. And the Sakura opaque pigment marker has similar issues to this one, but less so in my personal opinion. Although that pen I have used a lot of, and I think I've used a lot more of it than most Sharpies I use, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But I'm just gonna go ahead and flip this over to the other side now that I've gone ahead and done that test, and I'm just gonna go ahead and draw one of my little characters real quick and everything like that, just very quickly. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw one of my little characters real quick and just see how this pen performs and everything like that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna go and do a circle, just an eye like that. I really do love drawing on big paper, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. It really is just so much fun. Big paper is so much fun. I'm so glad I brought out big paper for the Sharpie today. Let's see, filling in area and everything like that kind of thing. I'm filling in eyebrows currently. It's doing pretty well. I do apologize I can't be showing you all the drawing right now. It'd be a little bit awkward for me to try to draw and show y'all at the same time since I don't have a table in front of me or anything like that. But yeah, right off the bat kind of thing, it's definitely performing pretty well. Let's just go and add a couple more details. And see, anything else I want to add? I think that's just about it. Just one detail like that. I think one detail like that, one detail like that kind of thing. And I think that's just about all I want to do. I'm just going to go ahead and have a little bit of a line right there, just like that. And just go ahead and just go ahead and add some extra little details and everything like that kind of thing. That is for sure. But there we go. All right, that's pretty much the drawing. I'm just going to go ahead and put the cap back on my Sharpie so I don't drop it. I'm going to put the Sharpie in my pocket and just go ahead and show you guys the drawing and everything like that. We can see with the entire drawing and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? No signs of fading. absolutely no signs of fading, and that really is why Sharpies really are truly such a fantastic pen when they are brand new. They do not fade at all. But if they were cheap, I wouldn't really have this complaint. As said, Sharpies, when they get older, start to fade quite a bit. Worse so than other more art-oriented, well, art felt tip permanent markers and stuff like that kind of thing. They do definitely have a reputation, let me put it that way, kind of thing. They fade. And it really is a complaint on my behalf because they really are great pens when they're right out of the box. They're perfect. The black is super distinct, super great kind of thing, like just doing a black rectangle right here right now and everything like that kind of thing. I mean, like, we can see the black is just super distinct right there, right on this rectangle and everything like that kind of thing. It's a super distinct, really, really, really nice looking, satisfying black. It looks very, very, very good. We can see though that of course the Sharpie, it doesn't quite, like if you draw a Sharpie line and then you cover it with another Sharpie line, the bottom line is going to be appearing first and everything like that kind of thing. But it really is one of those things that it doesn't matter too much kind of thing. It's just a Sharpie. You have to be a little bit careful with Sharpies in that manner if you care that much. But it's a very nice, distinct color, that is for sure. And the same can be said about all of the Sharpie colors, unless they're kind of getting out of ink and everything like that kind of thing. Maybe I just use all of my Sharpies till they're dead, but yeah, that really is my main issue with Sharpies. I definitely have to say, how long is the typical lifespan of a Sharpie for me? I have so many Sharpies and I rotate throughout them, so it's kind of hard to say, but I definitely have to say, probably if I was going to only use one, I'd say probably about a month, maybe month and a half of consistent daily drawing, maybe probably less in all honesty. Sharpies really do not last a very long time, especially for the price. It is a good marker for the price, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking for the best bang for your buck, in my personal opinion, Sharpies are not it, and I'm still looking for a best bang for your buck Sharpie alternative, that is for sure. The pencil sign pen and the Sakura pen I mentioned before, those are both more expensive than Sharpies, but they are better, which makes sense because they're more expensive, but I have not found a better bang for your buck alternative to Sharpies yet, which I am looking for, that is for sure. But anything else I want to cover when I'm actually drawing with the pen itself, it is very nice and ergonomic, that is for sure. Just drawing with it right off the bat kind of thing. And like, it's pretty good kind of thing. It's very easy. It doesn't feel like it's trying to slip out of your hand or anything like that kind of thing. And yeah, no, I definitely have to say it's a very nice ergonomic pen that doesn't feel like it's about to slip out of your pen or out of your hand or anything like that kind of thing. It's got a lot of thickness to it, which kind of counteracts the weight, I will admit, which is something I didn't mention previously. And overall, Sharpies are a great pen. Sharpies are great pens, but they certainly are not without their issues. Sharpies certainly do have their issues. Let's see, this paper is pretty thick, but did it bleed a little bit? It did not bleed a little bit. On thinner paper, of course, Sharpies can and do bleed a lot, especially if you're kind of hovering for a minute or something like that kind of thing. If that's what you tend to do, Sharpies do bleed quite a bit. But in all honesty, it's a good pen. It is a good pen, but it's not without its issues. And basically what I'm trying to say is, basically what I'm trying to say, I'm not really trying to say anything besides the review, but one thing I do have to say, which is what I meant to say, is one thing I do want to say is that in high school, what do we use for a lot of like the permanent marker drawings and stuff like that kind of thing? We use Sharpies. We should have been using something better. But it's just kind of like, it's the easiest thing to pick up. You can go to Walmart, you can go to Target. They're literally sold everywhere. They're not really too expensive, but they're not really cheap either kind of thing. And they're art certified or whatever BS kind of thing. They're good pens. They're good pens, but they certainly are not without their issues. And the main issues, in my personal opinion, one, the weight and the size I love. I could definitely go for a heavier version of a Sharpie, but the size is perfectly fine and it definitely does a good job of counteracting the lack of weight. But I definitely have to say my really main issues with the Sharpie permanent marker are how the tip of it, the felt tip of it, of course, starts to wear down after a while, especially if you're a heavy writer like I am, and how when you continue using it, it starts fading more and more and more consistently. Of course, a brand new marker out of the box, I literally had zero issues today with this marker right here, but I fully assume if I use this marker for the next week, drawing every day, I do definitely think I'd start having some issues where it starts fading every once in a while kind of thing, and it just gets annoying, especially when you're just trying to do one line for the entire drawing and everything like that kind of thing, make it look really nice and easy, and then it fades, and it's kind of, whoa. I don't want to have to buy a new Sharpie every time I want to do a line drawing and everything like that kind of thing. It gets a little bit annoying. But writing overall with Sharpies, I forgot to mention, let's just write something real quick. Writing right off the bat kind of thing is pretty easy as well kind of thing. It's really no issues, and I am starting to see some fading. I did do very quickly a little box. It's not super faded, and I did move the lines very quickly. Like, let's just try this a little bit. Like, yeah, Sharpies are definitely much better for slow drawing as well kind of thing. That is one thing that I just realized now that it completely slipped my mind. Sharpies are much better for slow drawing than fast drawing, that is for sure, but I tend to draw fast, so I guess that's probably why I'm getting those issues so much. But I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't really have anything else to say. My final thoughts on the classic Sharpie fine point permanent markers are pretty positive overall. I know I've been very critical of the markers today, but my thoughts on these markers are pretty positive overall. I do like them quite a bit. I don't think the packaging is really up to par. I think the only thing that's really iconic about the packaging simply is the Sharpie logo and the actual look of the Sharpies themselves. The overall design of the Sharpie markers is pretty cool. It's a classic look in my personal opinion, a very simple but very nice look. And the overall experience of using the Sharpie fine point marker is very good. I ain't gonna lie. And is a very good experience. Besides some fading for drawing fast and everything like that kind of thing, they sit very easily in your hand. They are a little bit light for my taste, but that can be fixed by putting the cap on them. Just a little bit kind of thing. They could certainly be heavier. And overall, they're good pens. It doesn't fade super easily kind of thing. They do bleed a little bit, but they are more consistent than not the majority of the time. And overall, those are pretty much my final thoughts on the classic Sharpie fine point marker. What is the rating I'm thinking for this marker right here, though? Well, would I buy them again? Yes, 100%. I'd totally buy them again. Just Sharpie fine point markers. Unless I find a better alternative sometime soon that's cheaper, I will 100% be buying more Sharpies in the future. But because of the price and because they fade and they don't last very long. That's really my biggest issue with Sharpies, is that they really don't last all that long. The rating is going to reflect that quite a bit because they're $1.50 a pop, which, don't get me wrong, is certainly not the most expensive thing in the world, but is also certainly not the cheapest thing in the world either. I'm thinking a solid 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. Some points getting taken off just simply because of the weight. And the rest of the points getting taken off just simply because they don't last really all that long kind of thing, and they have some minor fading issues that are probably mostly my fault, in all honesty. But nonetheless, I'm taking points off the marker for that. As said, solid 8.5 out of 10. It's getting an 8.5 out of 10, not an 8 or a 7.5 out of 10, just simply because I know I'm going to buy these again. It's not the worst price in the world either way, but yeah, solid 8.5 out of 10 for the Sharpie fine point permanent marker. I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed watching this pen review, though. If you guys have enjoyed watching my review of the Sharpie fine point permanent marker, of course, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. box, and my main channel all in the description down below. Go check it all out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, y'all. Until the next one, stay safe and peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying?